What are some skinny people problems? My personal favorite. You can't be diabetic. You're skinny. Oh. Thanks random man at the gas pumps. I'll let my pancreas know immediately. Edit. I used to wear a visible constant glucose monitor, which is recognizable to other diabetics, especially those that were recently diagnosed. I get questions that I'm usually happy to answer, but sometimes people are rude. Hopefully that answers like 60% of the questions I'm getting. Always having to sit in the middle seat of the car. Can't sleep on my side because my bony knees touch each other and it hurts too much. To sleep on my side is have to wear thick sweepants or put a cushion between my knees. I have no momentum. Friends lifting you to show how easy it is to do so. I used to be fat as. Now I'm skinny and the most apparent difference is I get cold much faster. Doesn't matter how I layer up. If I hit my hip on a table or something as I'm walking by, it hurts a lot and leaves a bad bruise. My ass hurts after sitting for too long. My grandmother calling me the ambassador of world hunger. Finding pants that fit for a guy. Pinching a nerve in my butt because of my bony ass sitting down all day. I just wanted to say that reading all of your experiences has made me feel so much less alone and has validated my discomfort towards receiving a lot of these comments from people throughout the years. Thank you all for sharing. Sorry that so many people can't keep their words to themselves and have to body shame us all. Edit. I was not expecting this to get as many replies as it did. I shed a few tears reading your experiences, and just knowing there's a place for all of us to know we aren't alone is really comforting. It hurts to sit too long. Being bony and sharp when being hugged. All the shirts that look good on the mannequin turns out to have pins in the back. Having to deal with people's comments about your weight body. You look anorexic. Do you even eat? I'm scared you'll blow away in the wind. Put some meat on FGS. No one's going to want to get with a bag of bones. If you don't like baggy clothes, good luck finding something that will fit you. Edit. Damn, why did this comment have to blow up on my alt? Having to make extra holes in your belt. Obviously a first world problem, but kind of a pain in the ass nonetheless. Edit. I know it's a universal issue everywhere, lol. You don't have to mention it again. What I meant was that it's such a small issue in the grand scheme of things. Also, thanks for the cool solutions. This was actually pretty fun. Whoa. You ate all of that? People making a circle with their fingers around your wrists. Not being able to break a branch by jumping on it. My 24-year-old daughter works as hard to keep healthy weight on as I do to get mine under control. She gets sick and has no appetite. She drops down fast and it's frightening to see. People call you weak all the time. Edit. This is by far the most successful post I've ever made. I am humbled by the amount of upvotes, rewards, and comments that you all have left. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and gratitude. You are all awesome. Thank you again. Annoying to wear bracelets because of skinny wrists. People thinking I have an eating disorder. Family constantly asking if I am eating. No ass can't twerk looks silly on the dance floor when I try to shake my butt. Sometimes it's hard to feel SI because I have no curves. People commenting on my weight in general. It makes me really uncomfortable and I never know what to say. Even if it's a compliment. This is just the way my body is. Can we just not comment on it? Something I recently found out. Rib pain. Woke up with a stabbing pain in my chest and phoned the doctor, who said it's quite common with skinny people. Nothing to do other than rest. Stay on painkillers and wait for it to fade. Edit. For those wondering, I believe I'm just about underweight in terms of BMI. Very tall and skinny. The pain lasted a few days but was slowly but surely fading. The painkillers were nothing serious, just some non-prescription stuff to get through the worst of it. Please do not take a random Reddit comment as a diagnosis. If you have similar sounding problems, please go see a doctor if you haven't already. When I was skinny, people would comment on how skinny that I was, but when I was fat they complained about how fat I got. As a male, society doesn't take you that seriously when you're skinny. Especially if you look younger than your age plus you are skinny. The implication is that you can't be a real man if you don't look like one. An ideal man is big and muscular, while skinny small men are seen as weak and vulnerable. It makes things such as first impressions, meeting people and dating far more of a challenge because you constantly have to validate yourself to others simply because of your appearance. I'm a skinny guy in the trades. I'm not heavy enough to do a lot of stuff. Open bracket. Edit. I've been getting a lot of questions, so I figured I'd answer some up here. I'm an HVAC apprentice. One of my biggest difficulties is getting pipes apart. I need 4-foot pipe wrenches because everyone has got a monkey paws. Even if I put all my weight into it I still need help. But they just like to watch. I'm sadists. I also can never find a tool belt that fits. I don't care how many wheels you put on it. I can't push it. Pop rivets? Forget it. You need me to stand on something? Let me grab some tools to weigh me down. Also, bending conduit is an adventure. As some have stated, I'm a god in crawl spaces. They really don't bother me all that much. I'm also a savior because I always have a breaker bar with 6-point sockets. I have 6 chickens that scream every morning. Yes, but when someone has to crawl into a crawl space or attic, then you become the hero. PPL saying, eat a cheeseburger. Jewelry like rings and bracelets, sometimes belts, are always too big. As a guy, the crippling sense of low self-esteem. Reading all of these responses is like a checklist as to what gave me problems growing up. The constant comments. Problems when pants shopping. Constant eating but nothing to show for it. People using fingers to put a ring around my wrist or upper ankles. Comparing myself to athletic friends. Etc. It was a struggle from middle school through college. Now, as a middle-aged guy, I look at my man gut and think, whoa. I could use a salad. Hard to gain weight. Stomach doesn't want it. Bones can sometimes look more prominent, which isn't great. Clothes are too loose on you. When people tell you to also eat more, it's hard to eat loads because your appetite for food isn't high enough. Edit. I get cold easily. No, that's not a joke. People saying they envy me because I can eat a lot and not gain weight. They don't realize that I have hypoglycemia and must eat almost constantly. It hurts to lie on hard ground. Being freezing cold all the goddamn time. Joint pain when on hard surfaces. Bones are directly exposed to the surface just about. Wow, you look like a stick. Are you a noodle or a human? And also heavy winds. Edit. Holly Molly eating macaroni. 2k upvotes. Well, in the black community being thick is seen as the ideal beauty standard, so when you are a skinny black girl you are often called anorexic or you are constantly a target for rude comments about your weight from strangers and family members. Not only am I skinny, I'm pale and tall too. Noodle arms comment update. As an underweight girl, no thank you. I'm full no. You're so small. Take more. People randomly touching your stomach and saying like you have no fat on you at all. Do you? People comparing themselves to you. Saying they wished they were like you. If they were skinnier life would be easier. People hitting on you and you being uncomfortable. And telling a friend but the friend saying they wish they got that attention and it makes you feel bad about being uncomfortable even though it's a creepy old guy and you just wanted to vent. People constantly trying to make you eat more because you're so skinny, people staring jealously at you going into a store and finding clothes that fit around the hips waist but aren't long enough too long. Finding fitting clothing is one of the worst things. Sizes that are the right tightness are too short. And they never have my pants size. Also, trying to gain weight, muscle mass. Over a 2-year time span of working out, I was attempting to go from 155 to 170 pounds. I made it to 165 and just couldn't ever get past that, basically because I couldn't get myself to eat anymore. And it was difficult for me to even get to that point, as I can't force myself to eat if I don't feel hungry. Whoa. How do you stay so skinny? I don't eat very much and I make peace with being hungry sometimes. Cue endless frowns. Bruh. As a thin gal growing up in the era of Kim K's and Meghan Trainor's butt, it's harder to build muscle when you're skinny. TBH, I feel like I'm hated sometimes. That's the only issue. Not trying to weird or anything. If someone is at the group of you and is going to pick a fight, it's going to be you. I guarantee it. Whether we're skinny because of an illness, skinny from lack of appetite, or skinny from a high metabolism, keep you're too skinny. You should eat more to yourself. Either that or don't be offended when we tell you you're too fat, you should eat less. Heavy winds. Having to wear a wristwatch too tight. Or a pants belt too. To a point you have to make a fold in the pants for them to fit in. I used to be a twig and the struggle with this is I couldn't exactly be cocky or confident seeing anybody could squish me with just one move. Back when I was skinny. Finding clothes that fit. The bust is way too small compared to everything else. Now I'm overweight. Finding clothes that fit. The bust is way too small compared to everything else. I'm skinny and small and people confuse me for a teenager sometimes when I'm actually in my 30s. I was born premature, so I think it stunted my growth. We can't all be a 6-foot linebacker now, can we? People teasing or commenting on your body. Because apparently there isn't the same social stigma that exists for overweight people. You would never hear someone say, oh my gosh, you're so fat. People get the license to body shame me, but I am not supposed to be offended because it's only body shaming when you are fat. Everyone else is fair game. Being skin ashamed. I'm very petite. It's sometimes hard to find my size. I'm 19, 5 feet 1 and weigh 92 pounds. I wear a size 1 in pants. They usually never have my size. Also, for some reason people always want to hug me or pick me up and it gets quite annoying, or you get doubted for your size. Overweight people shitting on us for no reason. Like, some of us can't help being skinny, you know. As a guy, my body is a little weird. So I'll throw my 2 cents in here. As I don't think I've seen these mentioned in the top comments. My upper body is rather thin, while my lower body is relatively muscular. My biggest problem has always been being viewed as unattractive for not having a large upper body. As I've tried to get into dating, it makes me feel like I'm inadequate and not good enough. I like to think that the rest of myself is somewhat attractive. But I'm not a Jim DeDebro who can bench you. Another issue is that I'm only so strong. I'm trained in Krav Maga and I can defend myself if I need to. But I'm afraid that my punches just won't pack enough punch because my chest, shoulders, and triceps aren't that strong. Driving my hips is proper technique. But I don't want to around if I'm ever in that situation. Finally, gaining strength and muscle mass is a bit of a process. Though decent dieting and strictly following a workout regime to push myself does help with that. Small boobs. Small boobs fine. But people being dickheads about us for having small boobs not fine. I want to love my body. It's so much harder to do that when the rest of the world tells me I should hate it. People assume skinny people are bad cooks. Being pregnant was a struggle. You are expected to put a certain amount of weight on and I never realized how hard it was to gain weight. Breastfeeding was the biggest struggle. They wanted me to eat 2,500 calories a day, which was pretty much impossible for me. People won't tell a fat person they are fat. Finding clothes that fit, especially if you are small with a large bust, seriously hard to do. Feel the cold more. Reading the comments and I didn't know being skinny makes you cold. There's a reason walruses and polar bears have so much fat. Fat keeps you warm. Even the slightest chill makes my fingers and toes white and numb. Big lazy people who drink tons of soda telling me how lucky I am to have a fast metabolism and it's all in the genes. Eternally cold. No matter what to an abnormal degree. Can never voice concerns about your weight to your friends because while you're worried you might be underweight and chronically unhealthy that way, they're all trying desperately to lose weight and you don't want to be an insensitive ass to them. You should eat more, eat enough to keep a bird alive, you're scrawny, you're gonna fade away, careful the wind might blow you away, ribs show when I stretch, constant ridicule from muscular dummies regardless of my strength, uphill battle to maintain a healthy weight. Stop saying I wish I was your size. You only want the size, not the issues that come with it. At least other people can walk out without 10 layers of clothing when it dips below 10°C. Ass bones on a hard share. Having to pay the same amount for public transport and only getting one seat unlike the heavy sets that get two. I've actually wondered this. Why is it if my 50 pounds bag is overweight, I get charged more? Clothes don't fit good. It's not politically correct to call people fat, even when they are literally morbidly obese. But it's perfectly fine to make fun of skinny people constantly. Women do this especially. Both towards men and other women. And they do it openly and to your face. And almost nobody around them bats an eye about it. And if you don't believe that or never experienced it, it's because you were never what society deemed too skinny. I eat a lot. Eat whatever I want. And always have. And people have told me repeatedly throughout my life that if I continue to eat like this, I'll be fat. I had an ex that would scream at me to stop eating and try to control what I eat because you'll get fat. I had an aunt try to knock a plate with cake from my hands because you'll get fat if you eat like that. There's more examples, but I won't take all day writing. Basically, people frequently assume that you have to diet to be thin and that's not always the case. And they're often dicks about it. As though me somehow gaining weight would magically be terrible and that I need to stay small. Making new holes on your belt. When I was skinny, I tried to eat healthy and regularly got bloated so that I looked pregnant. Now I'm chunky again, I just look a bit puffier but it isn't as noticeable. People judging, why are you not putting any weight on? When I was skinny, every guy friend I had, their girlfriends, always wanted to fight me for whatever reason. The girls called me anorexic. I was pressured into modeling but I didn't do it. Skinny people are worth more than their body. Other than that, I couldn't donate blood and had to take iron supplements. People get offended if I eat healthy, other people also get offended if I say I need to lose weight, cut out sugar, etc. Just because I'm not overweight doesn't mean I don't have fat to lose or that my body is healthy. I don't have anorexia. I'm just skinny fit. Falling through street drains. Getting stuck in card slots. I love cold and winter. But my body being what the title is talking about, 181 meters. 50 kg. My fingers and feet can get cold even when it's 30°C. People kidnap you because you can fit into places bigger people can't. Good for thieving. When you're skinny, fat people love to talk down to you like they've been talked down to their whole life. Being told we're not real women. I don't have much padding so things hurt a bit more. People assume I'm anorexic. No joke, I've had about 5 people say this to me. Feeling cold all the time. Finding clothes that fit you. People making comments about your weight, eating habits. People think that you're weak and can't lift stuff. No, but the top comments have the main ones. So I'll add this. Personal space. Because you don't have a buffer. People stand directly in your face. Crowds are awful. I've put on about 60 pounds since college, still in the healthy BMI range. Not that BMI matters at all. But that should give you an idea of how gross I was, and now I actually have a bit of breathing room. Still, none of the societal problems I had as a skinny person were nearly as bad as problems overweight people face. Ironically, the only problem I had that was as bad worse than a fat person's was health. Dress shirts. I'm a slender build 6'1" guy with a 18 collar and 36 sleeve. Shirts only get wider, not longer. Most off-the-rack shirts in my size have almost enough material for 2 shirts. Means I pretty much have to have or buy everything tailored. When other people feel the need to talk about you being skinny, like completely out of nowhere, and you're supposed to be okay with it because, hey, it's a compliment. But actually, is it really a compliment? Because it often doesn't really feel like it. There's layers to it. But you develop an awkward sense of humor about it to try to brush it off and still seem humble but worry you're not seeming humble enough. And everyone looks at you weird. Or at least it feels like it. And secretly you wish the earth would swallow you up. I get anxiety. Can you tell? When I went into my university for counseling, I was clear that I needed help with depression and dealing with the unexpected death of one of my close friends. They matched me with an eating disorder specialist. During our first session he was shocked I wasn't there for an eating disorder. He always kept trying to bring it up and it was very annoying. Inadequate water retention. If I want to for a long run on a hot day I get dehydrated easily because I sweat out all my water too quickly. If I catch a bad stomach bug, and everything that was in my stomach and intestines gets flushed out and I can't keep any food or water down, then I get really weak and tired until I am able to keep food down again. If I had some fat reserves. Big in the titties. Small in the everything else. It's hard to dress up without looking like a prostitute. People don't believe I'm already full. People calling you skinny even though you actively work out and eat a lot of food. No downsides. I get to stab all my enemies with a hug. Shaving your pits. So hard to get all the hairs. And the comments to this day I don't wear shorts or skirts. The assuming I don't eat. Having a bony ass that never fills out pants. Looking horrible in tank tops. Like spaghetti arms. That's just off the top of my head. Having sex with other skinny people gives me bruises on my hip bones. Also I can't sit on hard chairs and surfaces as long as my more endowed family and friends. Edit. Yes. Husband is skinny too and sometimes it hurts. We have to position carefully so they don't bang bone on bone. Not the type of boning I want. Skinny people are becoming rare where I live. Overweight people feel very comfortable making negative comments about skinny people. Skinny people can't say anything back out of fear they will insult said overweight person even though they are being insulted themselves. Moral of the story. Quit talking about how other people look unless you are truly complimenting them. Source. Skinny wife. I can't really wear a watch. I guess. I mean I haven't put an excessive amount of effort towards finding one that fits properly. But in general the average watch is just way too big for my tiny little baby wrists. You become the designated crawl into that small space guy. You're still expected to be able to lift and move heavy stuff because you're a man. Even if you're small and scrawny. It's fine I guess but it can be hard sometimes. People can and will exploit your weakness on the reg. Chinese burns. Headlocks. Arm locks etc. Dudes just beat you up all the time for jokes lol. Always on the receiving end of rough play. Lastly. Yeah. Cold easily. Blessing and a curse though because you very rarely get too hot. I'm not super skinny. I guess you could say I'm skinny but strong. But the main problem I have is being cold. I always rub my arm and attempt to gain heat and my friends are always like are you sick? Finding 30-year grave 34 genes is a real mother. Try 30x36. I was really skinny when I was a teenager. One of the things I noticed was my female friends pretty much hated on me for being thin and constantly made references about my body. I felt really small compared to the older men that would creep on me, and I felt defenseless all the time. I gained maybe 45 pounds since being that small, and some muscle too, so I don't feel as small, but I won't ever forget that feeling when I would get cornered by the men. I realized that I got creeped on a lot back then, not for being skinny and attractive, but because I was quite physically obvious a defenseless child. Having to run around in the shower to get wet. Having too many hoodies. Can't donate blood until you weigh something like 110 pounds.